Reason to Die Awakening, made by Place Rebuilder from 2015. The series has been rebooted many times due to coding changes and stuff. From Reason to Die 28, Reason to Die 2012, Reason to Die 2014, and finally Reason to Die Awakening, which is 2015, 1 year after the third reboot was released. The game changes a lot throughout the years, because back then Reason to Die wasn't that much of a big deal. However, the popularity didn't what it used to have anymore, until the Explorer came in and ruined the entire server and just become unplayable. So therefore, welcome to my review of Reason to Die Awakening. Alright, so before we start, I've been playing this game ever since the Rhino pet was on the table, so I know my way around this game, so bear with me. Reason to Die is a zombie shooter genre with players around the game. You can play as two sides, either survivors or zombies. Each individual team has their own different objective. For the survivors, they need to survive as long as possible or do some certain tasks in order to progress. This might sound familiar for a certain game that you probably ever played most of your entire life. The game is heavily based on Left 4 Dead. Well, technically not a good one, I'd say, but we'll talk about that later. As for zombies, they have to stop the survivors from advancing, which we all know. The survivors and zombies have their own unique playstyle, minus the survivor. For the survivor, you can have different variants of weaponry from the shop, and they don't come in cheap, and they are very expensive. And yes, the game has economy for you to spend in the game. Killing zombies or winning a campaign is the only way to get a cash reward, but most of the time you'll be killing zombies more often than completing a campaign. As someone who's been playing this for a long time, you'll see why. There are many types of guns that you can use, such as pistols, shotgun, rifle, assault rifle, heavy or light machine gun, or grenade launcher. You can carry a few loadouts for each section, so you gotta play carefully when it comes to survival. You can only buy items before the match start, but do keep in mind these things don't come in free either. So you gotta make a plan whether you're going to make it or not make it. It's like playing a stock market, whether you're going up or down. This game also provides armor. You can buy an armor to increase your survivability in zombie apocalypse. Having an armor is mandatory in this game, since most of the armor can provide your safety. Most seasoned players mostly wear expensive armor or don't wear anything because they are skilled. However, for new players, they're struggling for survival, and that is what makes them fail 90% of the time. Many new players don't enjoy Reason to Die because of the spike difficulty. You can also play single player, but what's the fun in that? Because most of the single player is just a single player survival and not a single player campaign. And the worst fact is, you don't get a decent reward for surviving in single player. You can only get each penny worth of killing zombies, which make it tedious to grind. There's no reward when you rank up. You can only unlock certain weapons that are locked behind a specific rank. Most of the guns felt the same. They don't change anything, and you have to repeat the cycle of the process until you finally reach the powerful weapon, which is M249. Even if you have one, what's the point? You'll still die anyway, which makes the game feel more chore than rewarding. This game has so many different game modes, despite the point of being a zombie shooter game. You got a murder mystery, players unknown battleground but with zombies, free for all, melee smash, survival versus environment, arena, team deathmatch, boss raids, events, and you name it. Also, don't even try playing with the players with this game mode I suggested, you're not gonna enjoy your time. Back to the topic. As for zombies, all you have to do is to kill humans. So, what's the playstyle? There are many different types of class which you can play as a zombie team. Either you work coordinately or just go about yourself. But most of the times, nobody coordinates in this game because the zombie itself is already powerful on its own. You might find familiar with some certain zombies in Left 4 Dead. Reason to Die does offer originality from zombie perspective, and I kinda like some of it, such as Digger, Ticker, Elemental, Swarmer, Stalker, Disobedient Child, Brute, and that's it. Now let's talk about the playstyle. As a default zombie, you don't have anything other than running and attacking with your hands. However, you get stronger throughout the game. Edgar is similar to Smoker. You're pretty weak, but you can run fast, and you can launch an attack to make your survivor being helplessly pulled. It's hard to play as Edgar, but you need a precise sniper aim in order to get it right. Leaper is similar to Hunter, except that you can't walk and you'll be mostly jumping most of the time. You can aim your jump to get a different height. He's also weak, but you can kill helpless survivor without problem. There's a minor bug though, most of the times you won't be able to pounce against Survivor and you're pretty much dead. Ticker is almost similar as Charger, with the exception of Spitter. This guy can charge an attack that can one-hit your enemies, however you won't get any rewards for doing that. This guy is pretty slow, so your best bet is charging attack. Your passive attack is radiation. It can radiate the survivor and slowly chipping their health away. Elemental is a fire zombie. He can run, but he's also on fire. He can burn a survivor and chip away 50% of the HP. He can shoot fireball too. And if you have under 100 HP, you can transform into Outrigger form and you can stun any nearby survivor, making him a very threatening zombie to deal with. His weakness is Fire Extinguisher. Digger is a zombie that crawls. He's a flanker. He can dig in any dirt related floor to flank any survivors. He can also trip a survivor to make them fall. He's pretty strong, but if you can stun this guy, you can kill him without any precaution. Stalker is the ghost zombie, for whatever reason. He's harmless, but he grabs any survivor into death traps. He can also stay hidden, but overall he's pretty weak and also super agile. And also a bit useless. Swarmer is a bee farmer zombie. He uses the bees for their advantage and stuns any survivors nearby, making him one of the most annoying zombies you've ever dealt with. Brute is almost similar to Tank, but he's pretty slow. His weapon is only wooden club that explodes. His main attack is a strike, which can blow any survivors away, or potentially killing a survivor if they ever get close. And the second attack is throwing, which can completely kill you if it's a direct hit. Brute can also shield himself from any attack, however it may cost stamina. I had more enjoyment playing as Tank in Left 4 Dead, but this? Well, it felt like playing Dark Souls Control. Playing as a zombie can be fun, but the problem arises when this type of weapons are handed out freely, because you're not gonna enjoy the experience of playing as a zombie team, but to choose to spectate rather than playing as a zombie team. This also applies to survivors. Both teams shares the problem, having overpowered zombies, having overpowered weapons. And none of them are fun. They're very chore and very difficult to play with. Most of the times you'll be winning as a zombie more often than winning as a survivor. I know the game has bosses, but why not keep them only for bosses then? Now let's talk about my gripes. Making a balanced game can be a pretty tough job, especially when you keep giving overpowered weapons that were not meant to have for the survivor. Left 4 Dead does have overpowered weapons, but they have their own drawbacks and they don't restock once you're out of ammo. They can be a pretty great help, but only for a limited time. In Reason to Die, you buy those weapons and you get to keep them in your inventory and you can use it as much as you want. And the worst thing is that these weapons are reloadable, so you can restock the ammo as much as you want with barely any restriction. Why even add machine guns or rocket launcher in the game? Imagine if there's no overpowered weapon in the game. You won't have to deal with the bullshit game that is today. Here's my suggestion. Why not add some weapon limit that can be assigned for certain players? This will prevent having survivors being overpowered, but instead the rest of the players have to stick with some certain weapon that they can have. This will enforce the players feeling like having to survive on what they have instead of giving the military treatment. Because we are the survivors, not sent out by the government. Now I'm gonna talk about my experience with the game. My experience as a survivor is pessimistic. There's no optimism when it comes to survivor. You have a gun, you have a kick and punch, and you have your stamina. What could go wrong?
Left me unfinished! Stop! You're scaring me!
Yeah, that's what's wrong. No matter how good you are, you gotta pray that your zombies team isn't good. Because if someone who's good at a game can obliterate your entire team. People play this game fast. I mean, literal fast. They don't take their sweet time to walk around or chill. These people are serious when it comes to completing objective as if they were speedrunners. If you don't know why most players speedrunning the game, it's because the longer you stay in the game, the harder it gets. You're probably familiar with World War Z, where you have to complete such tasks in time or it will get incredibly hard. I know the game is from 2019, but I'm just pointing that out because I have no good explanation on how us survivors survive. You can try scavenging around the map, but you won't be able to find anything other than medical cabinet in the designated area. You can also try to remember other spots because people are rallying to get their items before you. Also, if you're a new player, no, you won't find any guns because you're playing wrong game. People treat high rank with respect and loyal. If you're a noob, you won't get the same treatment as high ranks. But there are some occasions where high ranks treats anyone equal despite their ranks. But we all know low rank is the equivalent of cannon fodder. They're not useful, they're underprepared, and they are unskilled. People love using jetpack because it's the only way to increase your survivability in the game. You can fly on whatever problems you're facing and just juke on them. You can also type gift items in the chat so you can get whatever you want to abuse in the game, as if the game wasn't bullshit enough. Playing as survivors is extremely unforgiving. Sure, there are some advantages for survivors, but they're still hard to play. There is almost no breathing room in this game. If you run out of stamina, your only choice is to kill them or you'll be killed. Survivor is like the highest priority here. If they're all dead, the game gets intensely tough and leaves you no breathing room. And the worst thing is that the zombies don't have a respawn timer. You might probably think the game will forgive you when you're outnumbered. No, you're wrong. Like I said, the game is extremely unforgiving. Even if you're outnumbered, the game still hates you. It's like playing tag, but most of your hiders become seekers. Even with overpowered gear, you're still overwhelmed by the zombies. Here's my suggestion. Add a respawn timer for a zombie team. Each player that is in the zombie team adds 0.5 seconds respawn time. If you calculate it, it will make sense and will be balanced. Anyway, enough ranting as a survivor team, let's talk about experience as a zombie team. Playing as a zombie is almost the same as being abused by your dad. I don't like playing as a zombie, or neither. But you get infinite lives, so you don't have to worry about anything. I'm not saying it's not fun to play some specific zombies, it's just that I'm not good at it. I can play as some zombies, but for some other zombies, I suck at it. Even to this day. You can have fun playing as some certain zombies, but you gotta learn how you can handle it. It takes some time to get used to it. But most of the times, I spectate whenever I die, because I'm exhausted from being a survivor. Like I said, the game felt like a chore. Whenever you start as a zombie, people will spam RPGs or spawn camp you. This is why you don't make overpowered weapons for everyone in player vs player games. Why even make one? Take example on PUBG. One of the most overpowered weapon is AWM. This thing can penetrate a level 3 helmet with full health. And how do you get it? You find it. You don't necessarily need to find one in order to win a match. If you got one, you're already on a high ground. Unlike Reason to Die, where you get to use your overpowered weapon every single match. I know, most heavy weapons is good during for events or bosses. Then why not reserve it for the game mode? You can tell how poorly unbalanced the game is. Even to this day, people have been complaining this game for a long time and nobody seems to give a fuck about it. I've been wanting to see someone to make a full review on this game. Epic Recon made it first, but it felt poorly underutilized.
And I didn't come up with a joke. Reason for Life. I would imagine there's more to it by now, considering this is like the rebooted version many years later, because, you know, it was like a classic from 2009 or so, 2008?
There's really not much to do in this mode. You just cycle through the same order of maps and slowly grind to a better weapon by using the worst pistol in existence.
Well, at least it's still a review. Playing as a default zombie is cool. I don't know what happened to the game, but the game doesn't seem to allow me to upgrade anymore. I'm just stupid in general. There's this hammer tool where people can make a fortress. They can block the entrance and they can make you suffer. Most of the times, people will spam gift clock and start using it. Clock bomb is the equivalent of pipe bomb from Left 4 Dead. but the time it takes to explode is outrageously long, and it could take a while to explode. Honestly, I don't know any better when it comes to experience a zombie team. This is a zombie experience. Events are probably one of the most fun and infuriating moments in video games. Usually when you make seasonal events, it can be pretty grindy or just plain copy-pasted and boring. However, for Reason to Die, it took itself into a charm level. I love and enjoy some of the events, especially when you put a trial and error into the game. Like seriously, PR love trial and errors. There is some way where you can survive, but it's not a guarantee. However, completing some difficult obbies can give you a reward. Usually, people are always going after the chest no matter what. When you complete an obby, the rewards is very rewarding. You can get a ticket, which used to buy premium stuff, which is super unique. You can also buy a mount, or an event related weapon, and it's really worth it. For the boss? Well, it's kind of a mixed bag. Usually, if you're low rank, your chance of winning isn't guaranteed, because you're not contributing as much as damage as you can. High ranks has all the stuff they need, and they will most likely survive rather than dying. Fighting a boss isn't easy. You need a whole squadron team with heavy gear. Battling a boss in R2D is the equivalent of playing Dark Souls. Also, PR, please add more than one chest. Thanks. There are so many cool things in the game that the developer put a lot of effort into the game. I like some cool details in this game. The game gets constant updates, and it's pretty awesome that the developer does care about the game, unlike most big companies. I know the game tries to be open and broad, but when things get out of control, it can be pretty problematic. I want to love Reason to Die, but I just couldn't. You can call me casual, but I've been playing this for a long time. It's a love and hate experience. However, if you're low rank, you won't have the same experience as high ranks, since high ranks can have what they want, unlike low ranks. Now to end this video, I'm gonna talk about all the problems that I don't want to mention in this video. The first person mode felt sluggish and hard to aim. It felt like shit. No third person mode, it's 2020, come on. Get banned for glitching, though it should be the developer's fault. You can't shove zombie with your gun despite having a stock attached on weapons butt. What's the point? Cramped maps are no good. Ducky, jetpack, stupid overpowered event weapons, stupid cake boss, get out of here. Some high ranks weapons are shit and horrible. I think that's about them. Overall, is it really worth playing this game? Depends, but personally, no. If you're that type of guy who has patience to grind this game, maybe you'll be in for a treat, but mostly, no. Sure, the game may offer a lot of content, but they're still not worth playing it. You're not gonna pass some certain level without calling it bullshit. This is the game. If you visit to this game just because it's based on Left 4 Dead, you won't be able to feel the same experience. Trust me, I tried, it's not the same, but it felt like a knockoff. It felt mediocre despite the content it offers. However, I just can't let go of that charm. It has so much potential. I love how much the developer have put effort into the game, but the balance is the lack of it. It's the center of the gameplay that should be focused. But throughout the game, I see no changes other than adding new weapons or events. It's still a tad difficult game and I still can't enjoy it. No matter how many weapons you're adding into the game, it still felt the same. If you enjoy this game, that's cool. But should you play it?
Oh no, man.